आगे आगे आ जाइए भागना नहीं है हाय संगीता आप लोग आगे आ जाइए that row has to come here okay
good to see you too
come here So, welcome all of you. Today we have 11th edition of Voices. So we are just short of one more, and it would be a dozen, a year of Voices. And in Voices, so far we have had the great artists of India like Raghu Rai, Sadanand Menon, the script writer Sanjay Chauhan. And today we are very pleased to have Mrs. Bina Sarkar, who is the editor of International Gallery magazine, among us. She is going to share with us celebrating cultural diversity through arts. विषयमा उहाँले हामीसँग चर्चा गर्ने हुनुहुन्छ तो मलाई लाग्छ धेरै इन्ट्रेस्टिङ हुन्छ र म आग्रह गर्छु तपाईहरुलाई तालीसँग उहाँलाई स्वागत गर्नुहोस् Bina, Mrs. Bina Sarkar, please.
Yeah, sure.
To you.
May I request Bina ma'am to kindly join us on the dais? A short introduction that we have to have for Bina Sarkar Delias. She's an editor, designer and publisher of International Gallery, a global arts and idea journal founded by her in 1997, which is a biannual arts and idea magazine. In recognition of her efforts on understanding and promoting the cultural diversity, she has been awarded as a Woman Achievers Award by FICCI, FLO 2013, Woman Achiever of the Year by Times Group and ITC in 2008, and a fellowship from the Asia Leadership Fellowship Program and Japan Foundation for research and development of the project Unity in Diversity, envisioning community building in Asia and beyond, Tokyo in 2007. She's also been the recipient of the prestigious Prince Claus Awards. A versatile personality, she's not just an editor, a writer, a poet and curator. She taught herself graphic design and has been invited by artists, galleries, photographers and a poet to design their books and catalogs. To date, she has designed and edited 50 years of contemporary Indian art 1997 for the Mohal Parikh Center for Visual Arts, Mumbai, 1997. She has designed artist Jahangir Shavalva's catalog for the 2002 show in Mumbai, Delhi and New York, artist Rekha Rodwitya's catalog 2003, among many more. Elias has curated 5 art shows: Rain at Shakshi Art Gallery, Bombay, commissioning 32 Indian contemporary artists to make works on rain; Kashmir at Tao Art Gallery, Bombay, where artists from Jammu and Kashmir, long marginalized, were invited to present their works with mainstream Indian artists in an awareness program of Kashmir, its history and conflict, and The Curious World of Chinthala Jagdish, a show of the Hyderabad artist and his whimsical artwork. She has been invited to curate the online show of international art by Don Delicat and launch her curatorial project Tagore Lost and Found with 30 Indian artists at Siddhartha Tagore's Art Pool Gallery in New Delhi. She's also a poet, like I mentioned earlier. Her anthology of poems, The Room, has been published by Art Arts UK, besides having appeared in various magazines, anthologies and online poetry sites. Today she will talk with us on celebrating cultural diversity through arts. She's basically in Nepal to understand Nepali art, culture and the history more closely and personally, to promote it through her International Gallery magazine, and to see the possibilities of working in different fields. So may I kindly invite Bina ji. This will be nearly 45 minutes of talk. We would invite you to have a discussion after our presentation.
I have to first thank the Indian Embassy for having me here. Mr. Abhay Kumar has been extremely cooperative in facilitating this whole journey to explore Nepal. Nepal, I mean, we are what, country cousins, India and Nepal, but interestingly, I mean ironically rather, in India we know very little about Nepal culture. So, I thought it very pertinent to come here and explore and discover the contemporary art and culture of Nepal and share the knowledge with our readers not only in India but worldwide. So, to understand what I do, I'm going to quickly run you through a PowerPoint that I have here, which is 17 years of work. It started in 1997. I founded it in 1997 because I felt there was a vacuum in India for true excellence in showing the arts. There were art magazines and things, but there was nothing of eclectic excellence in the way art was viewed in magazines. And not just the visual arts, but the performing arts, the photography, cinema, theatre, poetry. I felt we needed a space to bring all of these together to understand regions, situations, issues, but to understand it with a certain sensibility, with an aesthetic quality. So this is how it began. I'm not going to talk now, I'm just going to let you watch. Are you able to read behind? So this was the second issue, and we talked about violence here, and it started as Gallery started as a magazine that addressed social, political issues, cultural issues. So in that we talked about violence, and we talked about opposing violence. This was an issue on race and caste, where I had, it's a very interesting issue, where I had contributors from all over the world participating in these issues. So we're talking about race and caste problems not only in India, but worldwide. This was just after the Bosnian War. We talked about war and the war child and what it does to nations and people. This issue was when Hussein, who was a dear friend of mine, was lynched and banned, and his museum was raided, and it was tragic what we as a people can do in the name of religion. We also have an article here on Taslima Nasreen and Salman Rushdie because they were both banned. India-Pakistan friendship again came out of a conference I attended in Pakistan, and we were, it was a peace conference. And so I again, like Nepal, I felt we don't know Pakistan well enough. We know that we are always in conflict, but we do not know the culture of Pakistan. This entire issue was on Pakistan, and fortunately, or I don't know if it made any difference, but Mr. Vajpayee gave this to Mr. Musharraf as a gift at the Agra summit. This was for the Prince Claus. It's a debate on beauty and notions of beauty, which vary from people to people. And it critiques beauty, actually. So this was when the French embassy approached me and asked me if I would do an issue on Picasso in India. And I said, I cannot do Picasso, but I can do an issue on the links between France and India. So the entire issue explores these cultural links through, of course, the medium of the visual and the performing arts, the poetry, photography, cinema, all of that. This was a difficult time when we had the massacre in Gujarat, and this issue came out of that. This is Ghulam Muhammad Sheikh's painting. You must be recognizing it. This issue was seeking Gandhi, because I felt that Gandhi is, he's an icon, and he's on our banknotes, and he's, on photographs, but we do not understand Gandhi at all. We do not understand his vision. So this entire issue is about Gandhi and the artists and creative people who were part of it, their views of Gandhi's, mind. And then we had this fun issue on rain, where I commissioned, I think, 32 artists to make works on rain, and it was just fun, and it was wonderful the way everybody interpreted rain. I mean, from artists to photographers to filmmakers. Kashmir, again, at that time, 15 years of conflict, and I felt Kashmir was totally marginalized. So I had to talk about Kashmir and talk about, again, cultural diversity comes in here, because we're talking about, people who we think are not like us, but we want them to be like us. And we marginalize them, and yet we want them to be with us. We want to own the region. So, the whole issue is a socio-political issue on Kashmir. This one is a tribute to women power. This one is multiculturalism in Britain. Again, Earth is an interesting issue, because we're talking about different parts of the Earth in a cultural sense, in a geopolitical sense, and how we all belong to each other ultimately. Two Bengals is East Bengal, Bangladesh, and West Bengal. The affinities between our cultures. This painting, this work is done by Mithu Sen. Celebrating books is again a very exciting issue, where books, I'm sure most of us here love books, and how books are interpreted by creative people, everywhere. It's difficult to explain how this issue is done. You have to see it to understand it. Iran, again, an area that we had known little about, but this issue explores a lot of Iran. 2006, so a lot has changed since then. This was our anniversary issue where we're talking that we have to cross all kinds of boundaries, whether they are territorial, religious, intellectual, metaphorical, and I'm urging people to cross boundaries here. That work, of course, everybody knows is Subodh Gupta. This was a special book we brought out on the best of 10 years. In Japan. Religion. Okay, when I released the Afghan issue in the US, in San Francisco and New York, a lot of people told me, oh, you are from Shining India and Emerging India and all the marketing terms, you know, that you're from this amazing land. And I said, you know, you're talking about 5% of India. I don't know if Abhay agrees with me or not, but I said, you're talking about 5% of India because 95% of India is really struggling. You know, I'm not just the middle class are more or less okay, but you know, below the middle class, it is such a struggle. So in this issue, I got all the creative people to share their views about India currently and what they feel about the nation today. Palestine again was a difficult subject. Central Asia covered all these regions. This was again a fun issue, poetry and art and poetry, where I got artists to respond to poetry and poets to respond to art. Turkey again, I explored Turkey because it's in a transitional stage and it's going through a lot of change. So the entire issue explores that. Tagore Lost and Found is again like Gandhi, you know, we hold Tagore in high esteem in Bengal. Particularly, you know, we're very chauvinistic about the Tagore culture, but we don't really understand his mind, his vision, and in those times, how far he had traveled in his mind. And while we in Bengal, I feel we are still living in the gullies. You know, we're not able to leave our little narrow lanes. Bombay. This is the work of Ali Akbar Mehta, who is the grandson of the famous Tayyab Mehta. Burma again was a region little known about, so we discovered Burma. Kerala had their Kochi Biennale, you know, recently, so I went to gather information about the culture of Kerala. Italy again, we are looking at Italy from the inside out, not from the outside in. While it's coming on, I'll just explain. This was a discussion. I've just brought this PowerPoint because it was for a discussion we had on photography, not art. But I think all these disciplines overlap, so I'm sure it will be of interest to those who are non-photographers as well. I just want to show you how we use photographs, the way we like to present photography, the reason why we select certain photographs, not just for the aesthetic value, that's very important, but also for a context. So in '97, we had Nilesh Kale, who was a very little known photographer, but his work was amazing. He's done a whole series of these human sculpture-like forms. These were Luke Delahaye's very powerful photographs. Leni Riefenstahl, who was, I think, 100 years old when I approached her for these images. She's no more now. She was, I think, 100 years old then. And a little story about Leni Riefenstahl. This is from the race issue. And no, this is from the beauty and context issue. It's because she was working very closely with Hitler, and she felt guilty about the fact that she was with him and therefore recognized as a racist. So very late in life, I think when she was in her 80s, she went and took these photographs. This is done by Suni Tarapurwala. Are you all familiar with Suni Tarapurwala? She's the one who scripted Salam Bombay. She works with Meera Nair on many of her films. She's known for her book on the Parsis. This, of course, is a very iconic image. Most of you have seen this image. And so, also James Nachtowitz when the Twin Towers were burned. But, I mean, it's ironical, but I find it a poetic image. What do you think of that?
Yes, it's very different.
Raghu Rai. This is again an iconic image. So this was rain from Bangladesh. Not sure. Okay. This is all Amy Vitale's images. Shireen Nishat, maybe some of you know Shireen Nishat, very powerful works. Iranian artist in the US. So in the Bengal issue, we're talking about the different communities. I mean, she's obviously Bengali. Then we have Leena Kejriwal's photographs, the Armenian family, and and this is the Bohrupi, which is the folk performers of Bengal. This is a wonderful team of Mariam Zandi and her partner Ibrahim Hagigi, who, you know, they work on these artists' images. What she does is she photographs the artist, and then her partner Ibrahim, he paints, does the graphic work around it to show what kind of art the artist makes, which is very interesting. So the moment you see this, you know he's a calligraphy artist, and you know what kind of artist he is. These are all the different artists. She's got a whole book of artists who make these artworks from Iran. This is a travel story from Iran. We have the Irani cafes in India. How many of you are familiar with Irani cafes? Do you have in Nepal Irani cafes? No? So they're kind of vanishing right now. They're vanishing from India. It's very sad. But like this one belonged to Rashid Irani, and this was a hub for poets and writers and artists to meet and drink beer and have sandwiches. And this was really, it's a very, what should I say, pedestrian, in a way. It's not a fancy cafe, but it was a lovely breeding ground, you know, and it's closed. Morimura is like Cindy Sherman. This is a man dressed as Frida Kahlo, and here is Mona Lisa with a baby in the womb. Different avatars of Morimura. Ueda Shoji is no more. He's a very venerated photographer from Japan. Abbas, I don't know if for the photographers here know of Abbas, he's a magnum photographer, and he's doing his work in progress is religion, and he's been doing this for many years now. He travels all over the world capturing the different forms of religion. Reza is another amazing magnum photographer whose work speaks for itself. He's Iranian, but he shot a lot in Afghanistan. And in Afghanistan, he created an photography and video institute for the local young people, because you know how Afghanistan is a place of conflict, and there was no one to create such a space for their young people. So he did this for them. This is a travel story by Rafiq Elias. So Pablo Bartolomeo has done a series on Nagaland. Now, Nagaland again is in the northeast of India, where a lot of Nagas feel very marginalized. You know, as a student, I was in university in Calcutta, and the Naga students never felt they belonged to India. So I showed Pablo's captured a wonderful series on the Nagas. So this is the struggle I'm talking about. These pictures look like they were from the 40s or something, but they are now, they are current. And Saurabh Hura is a young photographer, and he's captured, you know, the struggle that farmers go through. Gaza. Iman Mohammed is a very young photographer from Gaza. Again, an area which is, you know, cut away from the world. Steve Sabella's, you know, the whole conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians. So Steve Sabella is showing how, you know, you're stripped and you're the same. Anywhere in the world, you are the same. It's the same skin, it may be a different color, but the heart is the same, the body, and inside you, we're one people. This was in Kyrgyzstan. Shiloh, yeah, he was a photographer I discovered in Bishkek. Henry Kirstens is amazing. This is his daughter. He's been shooting his daughter from a very young age. And this whole series, if you notice, she's got a plastic bag on her head and toilet paper and bubble wrap. And this is all about environment. And so this is his take on views of environment. And he's done it so aesthetically. Okay, so Turkey, yeah, Ara Güler is an amazing, again, an iconic photographer. He has captured the history of Turkey. And Najib Tokuglu is a new age photographer. He creates these situations, biblical and mythical, and shoots them. He creates the situations and shoots them. This is again a take on the common man in Bombay. Aparna Jaikumar is a young photographer who she's done a series with Parsis, and you know their interest in gymnastics. I discovered this artist and the previous artist just randomly in Mandalay and Yangon, and I was amazed at the power of the images. Very humble photographers. Vivek Vilasini plays with images. He shoots the traditional, this is a Kathak dancer, Kathakali dancer from Kerala, and he's situated them in a biblical moment. Again, Paolo Ventura is from Italy, and he creates these sets and places himself in the sets and shoots. So that is gallery. Actually, it's 17 years. I don't like to talk too much. I like to talk with. So I would love to have questions, and maybe something will come out of the questions.
Anybody of you, any of you would like to?
So how did you start gallery? How it happened? What were you doing before 1997? And how did you decide to start gallery? Thank you.
Well, I was a writer, always first a writer and a poet, and then everything else. But so it's life's strange twists and turns. So I started as a journalist professionally, and I worked in Bombay, and then we moved to Japan. And on returning from Japan, I felt I was very disconnected from everything in Bombay. So while my husband was in advertising, we founded an ad agency together, which we ran together for 12 years. But that was not my scene at all, I realized. So I wanted to bring together all that I was passionate about and that I could share with a larger world, all that I believed in. And I do believe in excellence in the arts, and I believe in cultural diversity, so I thought of bringing it together in that sense. And in '97, I worked on the idea in my head, and that's how it gradually emerged. It was very difficult, of course, in the beginning, because I'm an individual and I didn't have the resources to have a staff and a lot of people working for me. So I did everything myself, and I had to raise funds for every issue. So initially I had to put in my own funds, and then as people got aware of it and we got more readers, it started growing, and then well, it started growing and growing, and it really grew. It went all over the world, and so we have very eclectic readers worldwide. And what's wonderful for me is a lot of young people give me the feedback. They say that what I showed you is so superficial, because you have to really go through every issue to understand what's inside. And a lot of young people said that it changed their perspective of life, it changed their way of seeing and thinking. So that is really my reward, more than anything. And I feel art is wonderful as an aesthetic tool. We need art and aesthetics to kind of, for a refined sensibility. We need that in our lives. But I think art must also, and all the disciplines of the arts must be used as a tool to voice our protests, or voice issues of cultural and socio-political relevance, because I think it can be a strong voice. The voice should be stronger than that of a gun. To use art instead of to go into war is so much better way of talking to people, of engaging with people, and that is why I do what I do.
Any further questions?
We can see that you have done several issues on different countries like Turkey, Afghanistan, Myanmar. Do you have any plan to do an issue on Nepal in near future?
Yes, indeed. The reason why I'm here today is because I am working on an issue on Nepal, contemporary art and culture, which is why I'm here today.
Hello, I'm Neeraj. Well, as you're talking about Mahatma Gandhi, right? So, well, actually, I'm really confused. As you told that about Mahatma Gandhi, we don't know about that. You mentioned about that. And I was confused. Is there any hidden part or anything about Gandhi?
No. There is a lot about Gandhi everywhere. You probably have in this library too, many books on Gandhi. So what I am trying to say is that Gandhi is everywhere. Gandhi is on our banknotes, Gandhi is bookshelves, Gandhi is in huge photographs in the parliament, and wherever you go you see images of Gandhi. But do we understand Gandhi? That's what I'm saying.
Actually, I was confused that you told that we don't know about. So
No. We don't understand the essence of Gandhi. That is what I'm saying, you know. We just have a superficial understanding of him. We do not understand the essence of non-violence, of all that he talked about in his life. We don't understand the depth of his words.
all right, thank you.
Any further questions?
I had the privilege of going through an edition that he gave me, and also the section on Italy. What sort of circulation is there? And is there a plan to compile everything into a book eventually?
Well, we have done one book, which was the best of gallery, 10 years of gallery, which is not everything, but the best of gallery. It's impossible to make them into books unless what some people have done, I've heard from some readers, is they have taken